Good morning, class, and welcome to this morning's lesson. Today, we're going to be looking at the arts area of visual arts, and we're going to be looking in particular at colour, line, and texture. So, last week, we went out and we took some pictures in our natural environment around our school. Who remembers what we took pictures of? Yeah, so we took some pictures of some landscapes. So we took some pictures of some trees, some waterways, things like that. So I have printed you all off one of those pictures and they're going to be by your desk so you can use them as a reference, because today we're going to be making a landscape art piece. I can show you what that means right now. So I made this one earlier. This is my landscape art piece. So as you can see, I have some grass down here, I have some waterway up here, and I have some long trees and some mountains in the background. Now, to show you how I came up with this, I'm going to show you my reference picture. So what I use as my reference, but you're going to be obviously using the ones that we took and that I've put on your desk for you already. So this picture I use as my reference picture. So you can see that it has some waterways, two big trees and some trees, and you can see that there's some mountains over here. So that's what it means by reference picture. I've already pointed out mine has similar features, has the waterway, the two big trees and the mountains. So today what we're going to be looking at is number one, lines. What kind of lines are these? We have some jagged lines, we have some straight lines over here. And these are made in reference to the kinds of trees. These trees are in the background. We can't see how they may have some jagged edges, whereas these trees are in the foreground. So we can see more details up close, like we can see the darker base going up into the lighter up here. So next we're going to be looking at textures. So I've used a couple different textures for this painting, and you're going to be using a couple too. I've used 3. So down here, I've used paints. Okay? I've used paints down here, and I've also used some different brushes to make different textures. So I used this sponge brush to make some textures down here for my grass, because grass isn't straight, it has some texture to it. And then I've used this brush up here to make straighter lines, and I've also used this brush to make a swirly pattern in my water, because water doesn't look straight, it has waves and it makes swirls, so I've made a swirly pattern in my water. And then for my trees, because trees aren't smooth, they have rough patches, I've used some oil pastels on my little canvas here to make some rough looking trees, because we don't want them to be smooth, because they're just like a tree, they have a bit of jaggedness to them. And then up here for my sky, I wanted that to look pretty smooth because it's in the background, and to make that I've used some water pastels with this brush. So your job today, one more thing. Our other one was colour. So we want to think about what kinds of colours will we use. Would I use a blue to make the grass? Probably not, because what colour is grass? Yes, grass is green. Would I use orange for my sky? No, because the sky is blue. So you're going to consider that when you're making your painting. So what I want you to do today, your task today is I want you to make a landscape artwork just like mine. I want you to use at least 2 of these different mediums. You could use some oil pastels, you can use some paints, you can use crowns, textures, Sharpies, anything like that. You could use the watercolors, the different kinds of brushes. And I want you to use your reference photo, and I want you to consider what ones you'll use for each element, to consider the textures, the lines, and I definitely want you to consider what colors you're using while you're doing this. And you need to make this considerations because after you're done, you and I, each one of you, are going to have a little chat to talk about what you've done, why you've done it, and how you feel about how your artwork came out. Alright, so I will let you grab some of the mediums that you want to use. You can grab some paints, whatever, and go ahead.